Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. I am Rafael and I am here to review the season 2 premiere, episode 1 of College Hill Celebrity Who Kicked Another Celebrity Out Their Room edition. We start the show off with the celebrities moving into the house that's close by or on the campus of Alabama University. The first cast member that we have going in is Tiffany New York Pollard, the one and only, one of my personal favorite, and who better than to open up the whole show with. And if for some reason you just so happen to not know who she is, which I'm not sure how that's possible, I suggest you go on YouTube, you type up the dating show Flavor of Love from 2006. That's where her rise to fame came from. She was competing for love there for a rapper's love, Flavor Flav. She made it to the top 2. He didn't pick her, but that's a whole different story. She came back for the second season. She also made it to top 2. He also didn't pick her, but that's a whole different story. But you know, I don't want to spoil it for you, so you have to watch. But she had a million other spin-offs. She's been on like 100 different shows, and I've been a fan of her ever since. And one of my personal goals in life is to meet her one day in person. I don't know how that's gonna be when it happens, but when it does, I'll probably have a whole meltdown. But she looks good. She's walking into the house, and technically her catchphrase is that she's the HBIC. So now she's technically the HBIC of the HBCU. So she's walking around the house. The house looks nice. There's a whole bunch of rooms, but she doesn't notice that in each room, each bed has like this little welcome basket with initials on it. So all the rooms have already been picked out, but she likes this room. She's like, oh, this is my room. This is my room. And then we get a little backstory of her college, history in the confessional. She said that she went to community college for 2 days and then she dropped out because she didn't understand the college curriculum. And I'm like, the college what? So then the producer tells her, you mean college curriculum? And she says, yeah, that's what I said, college curriculum. She's not understanding it. But you know what? If New York says that it's curriculum, then it's curriculum. And I have no issue with that. But the producer was just like, no, it's curriculum. So New York tries to pronounce it correctly. She was just like, curriculum. And I can't even lie either. I had to Google it to actually pronounce it correctly myself. So I don't blame her. So the second person that comes in is Quay. I know him because I used to follow him on Instagram, and he's known for his skits as his character, TT, with the blue wig. And because of his skits, his social media blew up and he got opportunities with Janet Jackson, Jennifer Lopez, Tyler Perry. I remember he even met Rihanna at one point, which I thought it was cool. And it's pretty impressive how through social media, you could get all these opportunities. So that's nice. And he seems like a really sweet person outside of his character. So he's walking into the house, and honestly, I don't know how he kept his cool, because the second that I see New York at the door greeting me, I'm falling over. I'm fainting. We're gonna have to stop production for like 10 minutes. It's gonna be a whole show because it's New York. I would have been asking for selfies, autographs. I would have been asking for secrets on Flavor of Love. Like, oh, so what did you really think about Pumpkin? Do you still want to beat her ass? But he starts fangirling over her like, oh my goodness, it's New York, it's New York. I'm a big fan of her. But again, I don't know how he kept his composure, but he's hugging her and their relationship already seems cute. They're like running around the whole house. He says that he wants to room with her, so they go to her room, but he notices the basket with the initials and he was just like, okay, so obviously this can't be my bed, but New York being New York, she's gonna make the rules. There's no rules here, there's New York rules. So New York was just like, well, maybe I could grab one handle of the basket and you could grab the other handle. That way we could both have 50% of the blame when moving this basket. And I'm looking at Quay like, don't do it. I love New York just as much as you do, but don't do it. Who knows what kind of mess she's trying to suck you into, but he doesn't listen. He grabs the handle and off they go. So they move it, so they're officially roommates. We also get a little backstory of his college experience. He used to go to Texas University, and he was doing good, but then his skits started to blow up, and I'm assuming what he was alluding to was that people started knowing who he was around campus, so he had to drop out because of his popularity, which I kind of think that's a pretty badass reason why to drop out of college. Next up, we have Orion, the brother of the singer Omarion. He also has a child with the singer Janae Aiko, which I did not know that. I just found out about that not too long ago, so that's news to me. He's also known for his videos that went viral not too long ago of him completely naked doing those jumping jacks with his thing, flapping all over the place. And, Orion, he's a beautiful man. So he comes in, he's greeted by Quay in New York, and he gives us a backstory of his schooling, a history. He never made it to college. He was homeschooled, but now he wants to change that. He wants to have the college experience. So he's walking in New York. She's already blushing over him in the confessional. She says, Orion is such a handsome man. He's so beautiful, and I wouldn't mind, seeing a couple of those jumping jacks in his videos in person. Same. But then we have the Puerto Rican princess up next coming into the house. Jocelyn Hernandez. Everybody duck. The Puerto Rican princess, she's known for her show on VH1 called Love and Hip Hop. And if you watch that show, then you're familiar with her love triangle with Stevie J, Mimi, and that whole fiasco the first couple of seasons. And, Love and Hip Hop, again, if you don't know, I suggest you go look that up and watch it. It used to be such a good show. Now, I'm not sure what happened to the show. I stopped watching probably after Jocelyn left, I left. Now she has her own show on the Zeus Network called Jocelyn's Cabaret. I don't really watch it, but I do watch the clips here and there. And I personally just do not like how Jocelyn is on the show, how she treats the cabaret or the other women on the show. And we get a glimpse of her behavior on that show, on this show later on, but we'll get to that. So she walks in the house and simply just seeing her and New York interacting with each other underneath the same house on the same show at the same time was crazy to me because, like I said, New York, she's iconic in her own way. And because of New York, there's a Jocelyn Hernandez. And no matter how controversial she is, she's iconic in her own way as well to the reality TV. So seeing both of them together like this, it was pretty cool. But she comes in and she's greeting all of them. She starts shaking her ass on New York, I believe. She's looking around the house. She's trying to figure out, where's her room? I would not want to be paired with her at all. 1 second you're sleeping, 2 seconds later she's waking you up get up, you're going to be part of my cabaret now. She gives us her history with college. She never went to college because she grew up in the slums of Puerto Rico. But if things were different, she would have went off to college to try to be a scientist or a doctor. But could you imagine the Puerto Rican princess as a doctor? I mean, could you imagine a patient coming to her office hey, Dr. Hernandez, so I'm sick right now. Next thing you know, Jocelyn is like, why the fuck are you coughing in my office, bitch? Get the fuck out, you sick ass hoe. Then we have Iman Shumpert. He's a basketball player and he's also married to model, actress, singer, bad bitch, Tiana Taylor. His reason to being on the show is because he wants to learn more about marketing because he does a lot of business and he wants to learn how to sew, which I feel like if you know how to sew in life, you have superpowers because you could literally just make anything out of anything. If you don't really like clothes at the mall or online, you could just come up with an idea and just sew it together and boom, you have an outfit. And Parker Posey comes in next and I'm not familiar with who she is besides the flashback that they gave us of her playing Katie on the show My Wife and Kids, but even then I didn't really watch the show like that. But she's here and her reason to be on the show is because she wants to prove to her parents that she's not a dumbass. Oh, all right. I mean, it's a valid reason, I guess. But she comes in, she's greeted by everybody. New York puts two and two together oh, wait, so you're PP, because they've been trying to figure out whose basket is it that's right next to Jocelyn's bed that's going to be rooming with her that's labeled PP. You're Parker Posey. You're Jocelyn's roommate. Parker Posey was crying on the inside, but she had to hide it from Jocelyn. So she told New York, oh, really, New York? Wow, I'm your roommate, Jocelyn? I'm so excited. I'm such a big fan of you. We're going to have such a good experience here of rooming together. As soon as she would have turned her back, I would have gotten back in the truck. I would have told the producer, take me back home. Fuck this degree. Fuck if my parents think I'm a dumbass. Take me home. Then we have Amber Rose, and she's known for being a socialite, a model. She used to date the rapper Kanye West, Wiz Khalifa, and she's here to show her children that she could be a role model by going back to college and getting her degree, which is nice, which is cute, it's sweet, but at the same time, as she's talking, all I'm doing is looking at that damn tattoo written across her forehead. She's just talking, and I'm looking at her like, oh yeah, role model, What does that say? Stupid ass tattoo. Yeah, a role model. But you know what? If she likes it, then whatever, fine. So, eventually the last person comes in, and guess who it is? It's Ray J from last season. He failed, so he's coming back this semester to try again to get his college's degree. So he's coming out, and first of all, I don't know why they had the song Return of the Mac playing in the background for him. It's Ray J. But he's coming out and he says that he's taking it more serious this time around, allegedly. And he said that last season he was going through a divorce with, I believe, his wife, or whatever you want to call it. Her name is Princess Love. And I'm not even sure if they're together or not. I'm not looking it up. Like, it's probably gonna change anyway by next week. They're all getting acquainted. They're looking around the house. They're looking at their rooms. Amber, she asks Ray J, so are you better mentally prepared this time around than last time? Ray J, thinking that he's gonna say, yeah, I'm much ready for season 2. I'm ready for college. I'm gonna take it serious. What does he say instead? No, I'm probably much worse. At least he's honest. Iman, he hears this and he starts laughing. His laugh was cute. And then we see New York. She's with Quay and Orion, and she's telling them, oh, you need to come meet my baby. You need to come meet my baby. So they're like, okay, let's go. So they go to their room, and then in a bag, I'm thinking it's a real life dog or something that she managed to sneak into the house because she's wailing it around, and I'm like, that's not how you're supposed to treat a dog, but it's a stuffed animal dog. And I'm like, okay, where is she going with this? And she's like, look, it's my little baby, Wellington, look. And they're looking at her like, what's going on? Orion is trying to be nice about this. He grabs the little dog and he starts petting it. He puts it over his shoulder like, oh, okay, this is cute. Meanwhile, in the confessional, he was just like, what the hell is going on? But then New York, she explains a little bit that this is basically her dog companion, you know, something that she's healing from because her real life dog, I believe it was called Lullaby. They died, unfortunately. So, you know, she's going through the whole mourning stage and everything. And this is her way of dealing with it. For me, that's why I can't get a dog. Well, I can't get a dog because I'm allergic to them. You know, I know I'm a bad bitch, but I'm allergic to other bitches. You know, I'm allergic to dogs, I think. You know, every time I get around a dog, I start sneezing uncontrollably. My eyes get red. It's a whole fiasco. But the second reason why I just cannot have a dog is because of the emotional attachment to it. I can't feel what New York feels. I don't want to feel that. Like, I've seen just horror stories of people, you know, their dog or their bird or their animal, they pass away, and then, you know, you build a bond with them, and then your life is it's just kind of like losing a child. And I don't want to go through that. But she starts walking outside with Quay. She starts explaining, you know, what she's going through with the whole loss and everything. And Quay, he's trying to be there for her. Next thing you know, you hear Jocelyn come out of nowhere. What are you hoes doing? Just ruined the whole entire time, the whole moment. So New York is trying to explain to her what she's going through. And then Jocelyn is just like, oh, you know, I mean, I understand, I guess. I'm sorry for your loss. But I mean, why the fuck would you get a dog? And I'm like, Jocelyn, like, so, like, you see, Jocelyn, even though she's iconic in her own right, like, this is what I don't like about Jocelyn. She's just very, I don't know, she's just very cold-hearted. Like, have some type of sympathy. Like, okay, maybe you don't understand that it's a dog, and maybe other people, you know, don't understand that. But it's just like, if this is what she's going through, and this is something that she's very emotional about it, just let her be. Just say your little condolences, walk away, and that's that. We don't need your little smart moments. You know, you act as if we haven't seen you on shows years ago crying over Stevie J. Which one is worse? Amber finds out that she's rooming with Ray J, and she's not too fond of it because she doesn't really know him like that. But if you really take a step back and really look at both of their relationship, they're more connected than what they think, because Ray J, he used to be with Kim Kardashian, who used to be with Kanye West, who used to be with Amber Rose. So it's kind of like a full circle. But regardless, she doesn't want to be in the room, so she tells New York and Quay that if she could just room with Quay. But Quay was just like, well, why don't we just get the bed downstairs in Ray J's room, bring it up here, and that way all three of us could room together and Ray J could just have his room by himself. Everyone gets together to read the first task, which is to put on their Stinger merch. Stinger meaning the mascot, a bumblebee. So they have to put that on and they have to go to their first football game. So they get to the football game, they're greeted by the president of the university, Dr. Ross. He gives them a brief history lesson on the university being a HBCU, which stands for Historically Black College or University. He mentions how Rosa Parks used to attend the university and how they're going to be learning more about the civil rights movement. So they're all eager to learn more about the history, especially Ray J, given that he said that his grandfather used to be a part of the movement. And as for myself, I don't know the history behind HBCUs, so I'm learning along with them. So after that, he dismisses them, so they go off to the bleachers to enjoy the football game, and it looked like such a good time. I went to college and I don't think I ever went to any of the football games. Maybe at most 1 or 3 football games I went to, from what I remember, probably, maybe, allegedly, but I don't know. It was just never my thing. But I did go to the college parties. But regardless, it seemed like a fun time. Everybody was cheering, the cheerleaders were dancing, and everything was just a fun time. And it was a nice welcome to the cast. They were all into it. So they get back to the house and Jocelyn is looking for New York to do yoga with her. New York tells her, I don't really want to do that. I don't want to lose weight right here. I'm going to try to do it after this whole experience is done, because she's going to go through a wellness camp for grieveness and everything, because she says that she's been eating nonstop because of her depression, because of her mourning. And Jocelyn, she's just not getting it. She was just like, well, why? Why are you doing that? But the thing is, Jocelyn is not even doing it in a very nurturing way. She was not like, oh, what's going on? What's happening? It's more like, why? I'm like, Jocelyn, can you just soften up just a bit? But New York is trying to tell her, I lost my daughter. And Jocelyn was just like, oh, what do you mean you lost her? New York was just like, she went away. And Jocelyn, she's not getting it. So she tells her, where did she go? Jocelyn, like, you can't be serious. And New York is trying to be, subtle about it. Like, she died, but she was just like, she's gone, she passed away and everything. And, I'm going through a lot right now. So then Jocelyn in her confessional, she was just like, I understand because she has her own daughter, Bonnie Bella. And, she can't imagine that type of pain. But Jocelyn is thinking that New York lost a human daughter, instead of a dog. But, Jocelyn is not going to understand that later on. But New York was just like, yeah, I'm still going through it, blah, blah, blah. So Jocelyn was just like, oh, okay, I'm so sorry, my condolences. She hugs her. That was a cute moment for now, until she finds out later on that it wasn't a, human. So back in the house, we see Quay and Amber Rose. Amber Rose is telling Quay, so can you move my bed upstairs? But she's not even being nice about it. Like, oh, can you please do this? She's like bossing him around. Like, oh yeah, upstairs. And can you move this? Is this your couch? By the way, I'm taking this bed. And I'm like, Amber, this isn't Kanye. Like, don't talk to me like that. And Quay, he's just doing everything that she's asking for. Like, oh, I want to be a gentleman. Gentleman my ass, because he's about to break his back, getting the bed and everything up the stairs and everything by himself. Meanwhile, the rest of the men, they're outside minding their business, where I would have been. Amber tells him that she's going to get them to come help. So she walks out and New York starts whispering to him like, I never told you to give up your bed. And what did I tell you, Quay? You should have never agreed to the whole 50-50 thing with New York at the very beginning. Because now look, you have no bed and now you have back problems. They all get together back downstairs to have a dinner. So as they're all eating and enjoying the food, Parker Posey asks them, so has anybody ever had any food that you didn't enjoy? New York, she steps up and she says, well, you have to make sure that your chicken is always well done because you don't want to eat any pink pussy. Any pink chicken. And I'm like, what? Now, New York, how do you mistake both those things? Like, how does that slip out your tongue? And then Parker Posey, she's like, oh, no, I think pink pussy is okay. And then Ray J, he jumps up, he was just like, wait, what? You said pink pussy is good? Parker Posey was just like, yeah, you tell me. Ray J was just like, no, I think it's great. But then Ray J, he wants to explain a little bit further. He was just like, well, I like my chicken well done. As for my pussy, and then he does this. As for my pussy, I want it to be well done. And then he adds this to it. I want it to be well done. I don't want it to be rare. And then Quay's face expression, he was just looking at him like, as he was chewing like Ray J. And Ray J was so serious about it. And then Jocelyn just has to be the party pooper because she takes it seriously. She tells Ray J, I hope that you're talking about Princess pussy. Princess being his wife or whatever you want to call it. I hope you're talking about her pussy, right? And I'm like, Jocelyn, please. We were all just, having a nice little laugh. Like, what are you doing? And then Ray J was just like, well, of course, she's my wife. When I say my pussy, that's who I'm talking about. But I don't know, Ray J. You're just saying that because Jocelyn called you out on it. And then Amber Rose in her confessional, she was just like, I don't get it. We were all just having a playful conversation. Why is Jocelyn being so serious about this and trying to cause a fight with it? She was just like, oh, don't make me F you up. Like, Princess is my bitch. That's my best friend. So please don't, say anything shady behind her back or whatever. And I'm like, Again, Jocelyn. Jocelyn swears that this is her show, that this is Jocelyn's cabaret, and that she could just talk to anybody whatever way they want, and there's not going to be any type of repercussion or anybody's not going to talk back to her. But the following morning, they have to head out to the university for their first class. While they're there, they have to get their pictures taken for their IDs. New York, did you see how New York was taking her picture? She was just like... She swore she was on America's Next Top Model. I remember when I took my picture for my school ID, I remember I took it and I remember I didn't want to just casually just smile or whatever. I literally had this face expression. I said, and then when the lady took my picture, she saw it and she looked at me and she was just like, do you want to retake it? And I'm like, excuse me, bitch? They get to the orientation room and take their seats. They're greeted by somebody named Dr. Petty. She's responsible for the student success at the university. So she's giving them a rundown of what they're gonna be learning, how they're gonna be learning, what she tolerates, what she's not gonna tolerate, AKA alcohol, no fighting. As soon as she mentions the alcohol, New York, she raised her hand like, wait a minute, hold on. Is mixing alcohol with coffee, is that okay? Everybody started laughing. I was Iman. Iman was just covering his face like, she is not serious. And Dr. Petty, you could tell that, she was just not joking around with this. Like, she is taking this whole thing serious and she does not want a mockery of this. So she's looking at New York like, no, there's no alcohol. There's no alcohol whatsoever. I'm not tolerating that. And New York was just like, okay, it's understandable, whatever. But then New York, I guess she felt guilty, so she raised her hand, so Dr. Petty called on her again. New York tells her, Dr. Petty, I just want to apologize for coming into orientation today completely drunk. Like, New York, you are not serious. And everybody's just looking at her like, what are you doing? Iman, again, he's just looking away, completely embarrassed. Dr. Petty is looking at New York like... But she tells her, you know what, Tiffany, it's fine. I feel like I'm going to see the best of the best from you this season. New York was just like, you will. A mess. But then Dr. Petty continues talking about what she's going to be teaching them. And I believe on one of the syllabus, I guess, Amber Rose, she sees that they're going to be talking about God. So she raised her hand and she tells Dr. Petty, I'm an atheist. I don't want to talk about God, so you're going to have to give me a different assignment. And I get where she's coming from because me personally, I wouldn't label myself as an atheist per se, but I lean more in that direction. And it wasn't until maybe 3-4 years ago where I started going in that direction. And to this very day, I still feel very guilty about it because I was always raised to believe in a God, to pray, to church, X, Y, and Z, and I just don't want to do any of that anymore. And Quay, who's sitting right next to Amber, he's looking at her like, wait, what? What's going on? In the confessional, he lets us know that, in all his time of being friends with Amber Rose, he never knew this information, and him as a Christian, he feels some type of way about it. And I mean... After the orientation, they head back to the house and Amber Rose and Orion are having a conversation outside about Amber Rose's upbringing in South Philly and how she basically had to fight every single day because her mom is black and her dad is white, but because of her features or how she looks, she comes off to other people as if, oh no, you're just adopted, you're not black, you're not this. Back inside, Parker and Jocelyn are talking about how New York lost her daughter. Parker lets her know, yeah, she lost her daughter, but not her daughter per se. She lost her dog, Tur, which I never heard that phrase. I think that's cute. She lost her dog, Tur, and Jocelyn is looking at her like, wait, what do you mean? Like, she didn't actually lose like an actual daughter, like a human? Parker is looking at her like, no, it was just a dog. Why did she tell Jocelyn that? Because Jocelyn went from 100 to 1,000,000 in 2 seconds. She feels disrespected because she was in labor for a long time with her daughter. So the fact that New York could use the term daughter for a dog is disrespectful. And Jocelyn, you're blowing this whole thing out of proportion. You're exaggerating it. You're doing way too much. Now she's going up the steps to confront New York about this. And is it really that serious, Jocelyn? No, New York was not doing anything maliciously to you by saying daughter. It's not like she was just trying to trick you out of anything. Yeah, maybe she should have specified, like, I'm talking about a dog, but even so, people call themselves mom dog, mom cats, or cat dogs, or whatever. They call each other, little titles like that. It's not that serious. So she's going upstairs. New York is talking to Quay. She interrupts their conversation. New York, you told me that your daughter died, right? Like, was it a dog or like what's going on? New York was just like, yeah, my lullaby died. She was a dog. So Jocelyn was just like, So then why did you use the word daughter? You're trying to play me. Why did you do that? And I'm like, Jocelyn, like, Jocelyn, as much as I can love her from afar and appreciate, what she brought to reality TV over the years, she is very toxic. She has very negative energy, and it's pretty sad because, she's cool, but when she's like this, absolutely not. And again, this is the type of energy that she has on her show, Jocelyn's Cabaret. She just talks to anybody all recklessly and expects you to stay quiet and just take it. And again, she's causing drama out of nothing. But then again, I guess it's reality TV, so I guess. Regardless, New York is trying to tell her, look, I said what I said about, my daughter. I call my dog that. That's that. If you don't like it, you don't have to like it. Just respect what I'm doing and what I'm calling her, and that's that. Jocelyn, instead of saying, okay, you know what, you're right, and walking away, she doesn't do that. She goes one-on-one with New York, and this was crazy because this was like the battle of the Titans. I'm like, oh no, not icon versus icon. But Jocelyn, she starts yelling at her like, no, I feel disrespected. You shouldn't be using terms like that. Like daughter, blah, 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 all this and all that. And then New York. This is where New York from Flavor of Love, season 1. This is where she came out because she took off those sunglasses so quick and she pointed her finger at Jocelyn like, look, I said what I said. I'm not taking it back. I feel this way. If you don't like it, get out. Get out. You already told me what you have to say. You don't need to tell me anything else. Get out. So then Jocelyn, she keeps getting closer, closer, closer. And I'm like, okay, this thing is escalating out of control. New York, she starts screaming at the top of her lungs because she's getting emotional. She's going through grief and Jocelyn just continues picking at her. So Quay, he runs out. Amber Rose and her tattoo, they're in the middle of the hallway like this. She's just nervous. So they continue going at it with each other. Jocelyn starts calling her a bitch and was just like, bitch, you need to go to a psychologist. You need help, blah, blah, blah. And then New York, she stood up and she was just like, you're not going to continue calling me a bitch. I'm like, Jocelyn, again, you're forgetting that New York took on a whole house full of women at the reunion for Flavor of Love season 2. And now you want to go against her like this? Cut it out. But, they continue going back and forth. They were yelling. New York started crying. And then Iman, eventually he came in, was just like, okay, enough. Stop. Cut it out. Jocelyn, you get out. Jocelyn went outside. She was just like, I can't do this anymore. She starts breaking down and crying. Orion, he said it best to Amber Rose. The reason why she's probably so emotional is because the word daughter probably triggered her because she's so used to being around her daughter. And now that she's not, she's a little bit emotional. I guess she doesn't want other people mentioning daughters if it's not an actual human. But again, Jocelyn, it's not that serious. Even Iman, he said, oh, I didn't know she was actually talking about a dog. I thought she was talking about an actual human. And look, he didn't, throw a fit or anything. He didn't confront New York or anything. He just said, oh, okay, whatever. But what were you doing? 6 hours go by and Parker Posey is knocking on the door of her and Jocelyn's room. Jocelyn, she's been locked in there all 6 hours ever since the fight with New York. Parker Posey's just sitting out there like, okay, I guess she's not opening. We see Jocelyn, she's in there doing her hair, packing up her stuff, organizing, not really opening the door for her. And Parker Posey, you were way, way, way too nice. And I get it, you're a sweet girl and everything, but no. Not when dealing with Jocelyn. You are way better than me because I get it. You have the reputation of being on the show, My Wife and Kids, but it would have turned into my fist and my foot so quickly. I would have been banging on that damn door like, Jocelyn, open this shit up now. Stevie J's out here. She would have opened up so quickly like, where? Or at least call Tommy from Love and Hip Hop or Erica Dixon. Then she'll open up. But eventually she went outside. Everybody else is outside talking about the whole situation. They're like, okay, we need to have some type of house meeting. Parker is telling them, well, I just got locked out. I'm not sure what's going on. And then Ray J is so dramatic and he's wearing this little crown hat or whatever. He was just like, we need to have a motherfucking meeting. Amber Rose is shocked at Jocelyn's behavior because she's never seen her act like this. And I'm like, really, Amber Rose? Like, what, do you live underneath a rock or something? Like, you don't have a cell phone, a laptop, a TV, nothing? Like, I'm pretty sure that her behavior like this has been on display for years, but okay, let's act surprised. So Ray J, he goes to Jocelyn's room, he knocks on it, she finally opens up. She was just like, what? What's the problem? So he was just like, oh, we need to have a meeting outside, let's go. So they all reunite outside. Jocelyn, she's not feeling anybody, she feels attacked, she feels that everybody's ganging up on her, of course. So Parker Posey told her, well, you know, I really don't appreciate, you know, you locking me out the room. I didn't do anything to you. I was there talking to you. Jocelyn just kicks her out her room. She was just like, you know what? You're going to be my ex-roommate now. Jocelyn is just something else. And I forgot who it was that calls her a bully or bully behavior. And that's exactly what Jocelyn is. You know, Jocelyn, she's not going to learn or back up from you until she gets dragged herself. And from the looks of it, it seems that Amber is the one that's going to step up to actually take Jocelyn on, since obviously that's what it seems that Jocelyn wants. She wants a fight. She wants to provoke people for some reason. And I don't get it. But regardless, Jocelyn says, no, you're going to be my ex-roommate because now, look, you're turning on me when everybody else is against me. And I'm like, Jocelyn, nobody is against you and you're in the wrong in this whole situation. But again, she only sees Jocelyn, maybe Stevie J every now and then, but it's mostly Jocelyn. And that's that. And she just, oh no, Parker Posey, she gets up, she starts crying. She was just like, oh, I can't right now with all these fake mother effers. And then she walks away and Jocelyn has no remorse, but you know, that's the Puerto Rican princess, I guess. And then New York, she's sitting there like, was this the meeting? Oh, New York. But that was the first episode. The second episode, Jocelyn, she continues on with this whole everybody against me thing, but we'll talk about that when we get there. But until then, you know, I thought that this was a pretty good opening. You know, New York, Jocelyn, Amber Rose, Ray J. It's an interesting cast. So I'm curious to see how it goes this whole season. Let me know what you all thought about the premiere of College Hill Celebrity Edition Season 2 in the comments. Bye, everybody. Mwah.